Let's see, Saturday, September 7th. Uh, Up here to harvest some of the more dried out potatoes. We're showing rain coming on the radar. Time to put them under soil. That's some appropriate timing. Just finishing covering potatoes. The rain's coming. Yeah, baby. Don't you know you I think some of these will come back. Not all of them, but some of them. But the stuff up here in the rock section of soil here was very dried out a few days ago when I was here. I just don't think they're going to pop back up. So I thought I would grab a sample. See what the deer have been chewing in the weeds here. And it looks like just about everything else they can get their snout into. But yeah, stuff like this where it's just the rocky soils here and it's just dried out. And they're basically done for the season. I think I'm going to harvest some of these. Some will leave, and if we get rain, maybe some of these will perk back up. I don't know. I'm not expecting a lot at this point. We're pretty far into drying. We're almost at our actual target date for growth of the season, so it may well be the end of the season at this point. If we'd had more rain, these would have gone a lot further and farther, a lot further and better, I think. But it just is what it is. Yeah, so I'm going to target probably that row there, and maybe these two sections of this row here where they're super dried back. And again, I just want to point out the obvious difference in soil here. You know, we can see where this rock ridge was. We can see when we get out of the rock ridge the difference in vitality of the plants. These plants are alive and growing still, and yet right here we have plants that didn't establish in spots, and the ones that did are already pretty well died back. They just don't get the moisture and the humic matter and the pieces for functioning life that they need. So I guess I'll just point out briefly just how dry the soil is. I mean, it's basically dusty at this point in this spot. And I guess I'll give you a shot. Yeah, they're definitely not that big in here. And again, that's a big part of that is soil quality, soil moisture availability, growing conditions. Because remember, never forget, environment dictates gene expression. So if you have a bad environment, the gene won't express itself as well as if you had a good environment for it. But regardless, we're pulling potatoes, even here where it's super dry. And again, we've done no irrigation. We put down no fertilizers, no chemical or synthetic fertilizers of any sort. We did a little bit of calcium sulfate earlier in the season to make calcium and sulfur available to the plants through the growing season. And we've done some foliar feeds to address trace mineral deficiencies and that sort of thing. And we've done some inoculants to enhance the biology in the soil. Other than that, we've done no amendments. And this soil has never been grown in before. And this part of the soil is very dry. Later in the season, I think we'll see bigger tubers when we start digging the bigger, better soils. I mean, those aren't bad for giving the soil the season, first year out. very late planting. So working along the more dead section of this row. And then as soon as we start to get down into the section where there's still green growth on the plants, as you can see here, wilty but some green growth, our potato size is already going up, and our yield is going up. We got more potatoes that are bigger. So again, that soil quality, well, here's the plant as we get down into nicer soil. Going this way, we're getting back into the plants that are starting to show green on them. And there's quite a cluster of potatoes on these. Nothing like those ones that were dried out so much. Now also, I can feel on these roots moisture clinging to the roots, and we can actually see that that soil is got some moisture in it still. It's not completely dried out. So interesting how much that transition happens. That is literally within the last two plants. We've gone from really dry, as I was showing before, to soil with moisture in it. And actually the previous plant, see if I can find it, had a little bit of the previous, yeah, I don't know where it went, had some rotting potato from the original potato seed potato that went in that it was planted with. So yeah, just nice to see the differences and get a chance to share them with you as I'm harvesting along. So I guess we'll just drop down to the thermal camera quick here, and we'll take a look at that same section in the thermal camera, and you can see immediately where there's green cover and plants growing how much cooler everything is as an average general. And then as we come out of that, you can see even where there's weed cover on the soil, that it's much warmer. And I can tell you, as soon as I went to touch the soil, I was surprised how warm it was. We've had a lot of sun the last week or so, so I assume it's left over from that, because we haven't really had any sun today. I'll put a thermal line on here so we can see what the temperatures are. Yeah, it's up in the 80-degree range, and with no rain, that's an excellent growing temperature. But if you have no water to support it, it's not so excellent. But regardless, we do have some nice potatoes in here, and I'm going to go through and harvest some of these, and we'll go back to the non-thermal imagery. Okay, so not a large section of the field at all, and definitely the less robust plants of the field. We still got about 15 or 20 pounds of potatoes. Figured I would just grab a clip here of what we harvested. Got some nice sized ones in here for given how the soil was in that area and the season we've had, and the fact this is a first year planting in that soil and not using any chemical pesticides or fertilizers to enhance growth artificially and end up damaging soils. So I call that pretty good for a first harvest test. So that's a nice sample harvest, and if we don't get any rain here real soon, I'll just continue harvesting. If we do, we'll see. I think these will perk back up and go a little longer and put on a little bit more tuber size. But we need the water, and we just don't have it right now. Guess we'll just look at tomatoes quick, and I guess I should pick some of these off too, before the deer destroy what's left of them. Potatoes up here in the upper block, or tomatoes up here in the upper block, are being decimated by the deer. I did manage to scap a few more up. I'll probably grab a few more of these ones that haven't been damaged while they're green and let them ripen in a box. Noticed again here the honeybees all through the holy basil. Even this extremely dry weather is providing a pollen and nectar source. And we can even see it. You can see those red sacs on the girls as they're harvesting. Guess I'll just give you a shot of how much the deer like the turmeric. So much so that they're just tearing the ground up in here too, and eating the tomatoes. Yeah. I guess we'll just give you a quick shot here of the buckwheat. You can see it's starting to finish out seed, and some of that seed is actually mature. Got some nice large black buckwheat seeds on here. There's some green ones too that haven't matured yet, but it won't be long. And of course, when I pulled up in here, the deer were over there grazing on whatever is left of the green. Just like everything else they can get their teeth around. According to the radar, that rain line is just about to hit us. Yeah, we'll see if it comes true. But meantime, just remember, you always reap what you sow. There it is, just starting to hit the windshield. Let's hope we get some significant rain. So I doubt you can hear the rain on the microphone. But it is raining pretty hard out there. In fact, I got soaked just trying to get out of the car and get back inside. So maybe that rain will help extend our tuber production and increase their size and yield before the end of the season here. Only one way to find out, and that's to go forward in the timeline, as with all things. Hope you found this interesting or informative. Thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seeds Network.